How big can I get my heart to be?
Thought Media Network proudly presents
How much love can I get flowing out of me?
The Real Talk Sisters. Deep, unfiltered, soulful conversations with Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley, Reverend Kim Andrews, and Reverend Melinda Wood Allen.
How big can I get my heart to be?
Join us for Real Talk on Real Issues, Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Central, 1 o'clock Mountain. And now, let's join the Real Talk Sisters.
How big can I get my heart to be?
Hello, everybody.
My name is Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley, and I am the Senior Minister for Harmony Spiritual Center in Fort Worth. Thank you all so much for being here today.
And I am Kim Andrews. I am the spiritual leader at Unity Spiritual Center in Sac City, Texas. And at the moment, we are missing Reverend Melinda Wood Allen, who is the minister at Church of One Love in
Cool Church.
the Cool Church.
The
Yeah,
Cool Church. All right. And
absolutely.
so our topic for today is principle number 3. We're going over the 5 new thought principles, the way that Unity sees it. And there you go. There they are. So number 3, I think. The first one was God is. The second was I am. This one today is I think. And this is not about I think and so I am, and so therefore I am. This is another I think. And so I believe our lovely Reverend Melinda has a quote that she wanted to start. You want to introduce yourself, Melinda?
Hi, I'm Reverend
Hi.
Melinda.
We introduced you.
Happy to be here today. Thank
We're
you
happy for you to be here.
me. We had a mishap at our house that
Oh,
required a mop. When you're on a walker, you can't really mop.
no, I'm afraid not.
Okay, so what I wanted to read about this, because the idea is that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, that rather than controlling outer conditions, if we control inner conditions, outer conditions will follow. And this is from the words of the Buddha in the Dhammapada. Our life is shaped by our mind. We become what we think. Suffering follows an evil thought as the wheels of a cart follow the oxen that draw it. Our life is shaped by our mind. We become what we think. Joy follows a pure thought like a shadow that never leaves. He was angry with me. He attacked me. He robbed me. Those who dwell on such thoughts will never be free from hatred. He was angry with me. He attacked me. He robbed me. Those who do not dwell on those thoughts will surely become free from hatred. For hatred can never put an end to hatred. Love alone can. This is an unalterable law.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Who was that again? Who said that?
That was the Buddha.
Nice.
Great guy.
Such a wise one.
Yes, such a wise one. Yeah, so only love can put we know that only light can
We know
drive out
that.
darkness, as my
We know that.
Martin Luther King said, only love can put an end to hatred.
Right.
So if we want to hold thoughts that are hateful, we're going to end up doing hateful actions and receiving hate back in our lives, and the opposite is true also.
Exactly.
To hold those thoughts of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, the experiences, the instances don't change.
Yeah,
No,
The
they don't.
experience of it
They
changes.
don't.
Yes.
I
So
thought
you
about
can view it as catastrophe or as we talk about something good for me, or not judge it either way.
yeah.
No judgment at all. Exactly.
No judgment at all, I actually find is the best way. And I practice that more often now. Just
Absolutely.
be clear and
Yeah.
not judge it as good or bad.
It's
Yes.
Because
just
really life is neither.
it's just
Good or
neutral.
bad. It just is.
It just is. It just is. And if we can get to that, it just is. Man, what we just our lives would be so much more peaceful. And I know that you, Kim, my members are still talking about your talk the other week when you were talking about your peace initiative. They were just so really just loved it so much, and you challenged them. to be peaceful. And that, like you say, peace isn't the absence of, it isn't quiet. It just isn't quiet. Being quiet is not necessarily being peaceful. And I love that, because we really think that sometimes. But the power of our thoughts, and we know this in New Thought, but in addition to, I've been hearing this being said, and I just thought, what in the world, what? And of course it's true. It just didn't make any sense to me. For some reason, it just didn't resonate. And finally, I guess after you say it enough times, you understand what it says and what it means. And what the saying is that everything is created twice. First, by you thinking about it, and then how it materializes. Everything. So if you're thinking about hate, or you're thinking about love, loving someone or being, it materializes the hate you feel or the hateful acts that you do. Everything is created twice. It doesn't just manifest. You have to think about it first, and then it manifests. And that includes our feelings, our thoughts, how we're living our life, how we're shaping our lives. All of that is included in that. It's not, nothing escapes that idea, or that knowing that our thoughts shape our lives. And we can change our minds, change our thoughts at any point, even in the middle of saying something. Oh, well, you loving child of God, you can change where you're going right in the middle of it, because that's not where you want to go. So it's powerful.
That's why I love that quote from the Buddha, because he says, he robbed me, he whatever, he clobbered me.
Yeah.
I hate him. What he's saying is that the robbing, the attacked me and robbed me. He was angry with me. He attacked me. He robbed me. Didn't stop. Only one person dwelled on those, and hatred follows the wheel of that cart. Or
Right.
Another person, don't dwell on those.
Right.
And love will follow the wheels of your cart.
Exactly.
It's not that things change. It's that
No.
where you put your emphasis.
Emphasis.
Your emphasis. What do you emphasize? What do you dwell upon? Because anger, hurt, robberies, sick children, terrible things happen.
Correct.
But do we dwell on how we've been done wrong? Or do we dwell on how we live in a world of love where we don't understand everything?
We don't.
And we're willing to believe that it is a world of love.
Exactly.
And when we look for the love, we find it every freaking time.
Every time. And also, I think because we don't really know the greatness of the mind of God. The mind of God is everywhere. We're only here with what we know. And the mind of God, and if we believe that we are all individual expressions of God, then the mind of God is everywhere present in every body and every mind. So we don't know, where they're going to go with this, how that's going to unfold, how whatever is happening, how it's going to unfold. And so to think, I'm looking for the good in this. I know something of benefit is going to be here, whether it's of learning each situation, whether it's that I understand something that I can help somebody else with, if I can stop somebody else from going through this, whatever this is, what's the benefit? If you're looking at that, if you're thinking, all right, I'm looking for the benefit. I know there's a blessing here somewhere. I'm looking for the pony. It's a pile of shit, but there's a pony in here somewhere. So where is it?
That is one of our favorite jokes about the little boy who at Christmas time had been asking for a pony, and finally his dad got mad enough that he just dumped a pile of manure in his room for Christmas morning, and the kid runs in happily jumping and so excited, and his dad says, "What are you so excited for?" He said, "Well, with all this manure, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere." I just thought I'd share that because the three of us laugh about that joke a lot, but maybe not everybody knows it.
Yeah, and it's a great.
The dad went like this.
Oh my God!
Thought that was going to work.
Where there's manure, there's a pony.
There's a pony. Especially if there's a pile of manure, there's got to be a pony.
Yeah,
maybe more than one. Maybe more than one.
Maybe more than one.
There's a
maybe
herd.
More than one.
Some days we have herds of ponies.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do indeed. And there's just so much to this thing and what we're talking about. When you, I don't know if that was that what she did, she hurt me, he hurt me, he whatever. The bottom line is, what can you do about what anybody else does? The only power we have is what we do, is in what we think and in what we do. There is not a thing you can do about what someone else. And I thank God for that. I don't want to be responsible for someone else's life. I don't want that.
And to do this in a very practical way, like we always talk about it, you have to do the real life stuff, which means you're going to have feelings about things.
Yes.
So
yes.
something happens that just seems wrong. People went out of order, didn't do what they were asked to do or supposed to do, or what common sense might dictate. I might get angry. I might get upset.
We're human beings.
And I might call my friend Pjae and say, can you believe this?
What?
But then that's just the initial, I'm dealing with my feelings. Then it's like, okay, where are we now? What needs to be done? And where's the, where the pony is how is this for my good? And if I can't figure out that it was good, then I can certainly figure out that it was a perfect learning experience. And I need to figure out how I can how I can benefit from that learning and share that learning.
Absolutely.
And keep it in mind so that I don't have to go through the same thing again.
Correct.
And that's the idea of, it's not every, just because you have an angry thought with someone, that doesn't mean you're going to manifest all kinds of anger and hatred in your life.
Absolutely not.
But if you have that angry thought and you invite it to sit down and have dinner with you, you make it tea, you invite it to spend the night, you take it to the movies with you, you wake up with your arm around it the next morning, go ahead and have your coffee with that anger, then you're going to end up with hatred in your life.
Correct.
And it's, it's not just new thought that talks about this. Quantum theory now is saying that as observer participants, that we are observing the universe, that we automatically create what it is we put out there, that by observing something and judging it, that it does create life. It does manifest for us. So it takes it a bit further and say that this is, it's not just your experience of it, but that we may have the power to also change what is happening in life through our observation. And that's pretty heady to wrap yourself around.
We know that as we look at something, we talk about this through a magnifying glass or lens or whatever, we're looking at microscopic tissue, whatever, as we're looking at it, it's changing. The actual, so we know the fact that we observe things just by our observing it changes it, because we're putting onto it whatever energy we have. So we are creating and co-creating all the time.
And what we're looking at is responding to how we're looking at it.
Exactly. No. I love that. I love that point, because we know, of course, that when we think as human beings, we try to fool ourselves and say, well, they don't know what I'm really, I can say this, oh, you're a blessed child of God. And they don't know that I'm cussing them out. Of course they do. They know the emphasis. They know the energy that's coming from that. You're not actually blessing them. They know that. Whatever you think you're saying, the energy that's behind it is what everybody sees. Even if they don't understand, even if they don't trust themselves to know that that's what they're seeing, they do see it. We all see it. We all hear it. We all feel it. We're not fooling anyone. There are no masks. We think there are, but there are not.
There's experiments with the distant intention on water. The effects
the crystallization thing.
People weren't even near the water, but held it in mind, set an intention on it, and watched crystals form, either in very symmetrical and beautiful ways, or in very angular and asymmetrical and not so beautiful and sensible ways.
Okay. And does that correlate with their negative or positive thoughts? I don't really know that. Yeah.
Depends upon what the intention is. If the intention is love, symmetry occurs, harmony occurs. If the intention is not love, then asymmetry and inharmony occurs.
Amazing. Just absolutely amazing.
Water.
Okay.
Yeah, that's similar to that experiment where they wrote on a bottle of water, poison or sacred water or something like that. It changed what it looked like under the microscope.
Amazing. So we
Yeah.
know this. And how much are we willing? 98. How much water are we? I mean, we're at what, 98%?
96 or something percent water.
A big, yeah. So of course we have an effect on the water. We are water.
Yeah.
You know?
So let's have some effect on this water right here. I want to focus my attention on this
Yeah.
big pile of water. What do I
Right.
want to do with it?
Right.
Rather than judging your pile of water.
I love it. I love it. And it's just such a human thing to do and it's entertaining for a minute. You know, to look around at other people, go, oh my God, what are they doing over there? What's going on here? What's happening? What, you know, just looking and judging and talking about it. But number one, to stop, you have a lot to look at if you just turn around and look at what you're doing. There's a whole bunch to look at, whole bunch to try to figure out. So no need to be looking at other people. And again, the second thing is, and religion, which is the first thing, you have no power over them. None. You don't have any power over anybody's how they want to be in their lives. They're going to decide what they want to decide because of what they want, not because of what you want. It's because of what they want that people do things, and that's just it. Period.
And I think the caveat to that is unless they're open to that. It's like prayer. You can pray for someone, but if they're not open to it,
Correct.
it's not. But if they are, they've done that experiment. If they are open to it, then it does have an effect.
And absolutely.
Interestingly enough, if they don't know about it, it can still have a positive effect because they don't have a chance to set
To
their
block it.
intentions against it.
Right. Right. And also, you know, one of the things that my congregations and congregants talk about, all the members talk about all the time, because I say it all the time, is you can't answer a question that isn't being asked. It won't be received. They don't care about your opinion. So
Really? What?
And
I have all kinds of answers for you, Pjae.
I know, girl. I know, girl. I know.
If only someone would ask me. No.
I know. And I find myself telling people stuff, and I say, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean your opinion. And they'll say, no, I asked you. Oh, okay, all right. Then I'll carry on. But
you don't get calls every day, Melinda, saying, "Please tell me what you think."
yeah, how should I be living my life right now? I feel like I'm screwing it up so much. Really? Because you're so wise. Really, we all are.
I get calls from people, specifically my daughter, who will say, "I want to tell you something, but don't say anything."
No advice.
Okay. I will listen. I won't say anything.
I won't say anything out loud.
Yes, out loud. But you know what? I can give her my loving intentions while I listen.
You certainly can. You certainly can. Certainly I do. This is the role as a mother figure. That's what we do. We know things and they don't want to know what we know. Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
No worries.
They get smart enough, they do want to know. Sometimes she'll say, yes, that's why I'm telling you. I want to hear from you. It's like, oh, it's always best to check, though. Always best to check. It's always best to check. Are you open to some feedback about that?
That's something that, you know, as I'm going through this the coaching thing, the life coaching, where you learning some verbiage to use. Are you willing? Are you willing to allow me to share some things with you? Are you willing at this moment? Because if you're not, okay,
that's all right.
That's all right. That's all right. Let me know.
Yeah. I just did last week. I went on retreat with my board for 3 days.
Oh, yeah, right.
And we did some intensive training, but we also did some pretty intense spiritual work. And the work that we used, or the method, the container that we used, was Byron Katie's, what she just calls the work.
Yeah.
The work of taking a statement that's bothering you and starting with an inquiry. Well, is that really true? Can I prove it's true? Well, what would I be like if it weren't true? You know, what does believing it's true, what effect does that have on me?
Right.
Am I making myself crazy? Am I feeling bad? Am I feeling vindictive? Am I whatever it may be because I'm choosing to believe this? Well, what if I didn't choose to believe it? How would I feel then?
Correct.
And turn it around. What would
What if I had a different thought?
be like if the opposite were true? You know, it's
Yes.
very interesting how often we come down to, well, she should listen to me. And it's like, well, should she? There's a good question. Actually, as far as I know, she has autonomy, but she really should, because because I have information. Yeah, but okay, let's look at that again. Really? You
What if-
can prove that she should listen to you because your information is correct. Well, maybe not that. Okay, how does it feel when you think she should listen to you? Well, it makes me feel like no one ever listens to me, and what I have to share is worthless and I'm not valued. Oh, well, that doesn't sound like a very good thing. What would you feel like if you chose not to feel like that?
Right. If you chose not to feel like that. I love those words.
Said, oh, she shouldn't listen to me. Or what if you turned it around even more and said, I should listen to her?
Right. And one of the things I think is really powerful that people seem to forget a lot is that the same wisdom that you have access to, they have access to. I'm no one special. And we're going to go ahead and take a break at this point, and then come back with this conversation. It's a wonderful conversation. Thank you, ladies. Beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, so we're back. I just wanted to come back to that the point. Just saying that everybody has access to the wisdom. I mean, we're not special. That is, if we believe, and we do, that we each are the divine, well, then that information is available. But sometimes, because we're emotionally involved, there's a little confusion. There's a little bit, there's not, and so to add to the clarity. And so to ask those people that question, I love that the work by to be able to ask yourself, is that true? What would the opposite look? Just to be able to get, not because we have so much more wisdom, but to allow others to discover their own wisdom and get some clarity within themselves by asking those questions. Because sometimes we're emotional and those questions don't come to us. And so we could just share that. That's why I love those questions. Just to bring clarity's sake.
And for me, a huge statement that somebody made to me many, many years ago when my daughter was young, and I was afraid that everything I did wrong was going to result in this terrible human being, and that everything I did right was going to reflect on me as a wonderful and thoughtful and wise parent. But seriously, during a time when I was really worried, someone just said to me very abruptly, God don't have grandchildren. And I was like, what? It's like, you have your own direct connection to the divine.
I love it.
And so does she. Her connection doesn't come through you, Melinda. She has her own connection. She has her own connection. She has her own wisdom. She was very, very wise. And I think she was maybe only 8 or 9 years old at the time that was said to me. But it was said to me in such a way that I heard it and listened to it. It's like, wait a minute. She's going to get good. The good doesn't have to come through me. There's a million ways the good could come, and it's never coming from me. It's coming from source anyway. She has her own direct connection to source.
Anyway, exactly. And when I think about my mom, my parents, and the biggest value, there's so much that I really, I reflect back and you think your parents were great, and they were, but I know they were human beings, and there's some things that I, wish hadn't happened. But the one thing that they did was love us unconditionally. And that has served us so well. It served me well. I believe, I can't speak for my sis, but I believe it has, because that's what unconditional does. What unconditional love does. And so I feel like I am worthy, and I'm any place that I walk into, any room, anywhere, that I belong there. I belong there. That's what they gave me. Now, from an early age, I also heard the voice of spirit. From a very early, I didn't know it was the voice of spirit. I just knew it was the voice of truth. And then when I heard it, I thought, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's true. That is true. It always came to me in time of need when I was worried about something, and a very clear answer came. And I always expected that to come. Now, as a grown up, I understand what it was and what it had in me. So, back to your point, yes, and back to whoever that was that told you God don't have grandkids. Yes, correct. She does. Kids have their direct line, and so do we. Yeah,
Mhm.
love it.
My dad often used to say to us, you know what the answer to that is.
Yes,
That's
I love that.
Said that.
awesome.
I
What
You know what
love
that
that.
is.
great.
And he would
Excellent.
have us go think about it, and if we needed to discuss it further. And there's that other adage that if you have to ask, it's probably not right. So, sometimes you put something on, you look in the mirror and you think, is this right? Yeah, answer's probably no. Or if you're writing an email to somebody, a response to somebody, and then you put it down, you got to let it sit because you're not sure, then maybe not. Maybe you need to
Yeah,
look at it again. And they always advise that if you're going to respond to somebody, or especially if you're reacting, like you get an email and all of a sudden you're furiously typing, that you need to sit, don't hit send until you have
don't
some
do it.
time to cool down, walk away, go do something else, clear your head, and
I
then
say
come back and
sleep.
read it
Yes.
before you hit send.
I often advise people to sleep on it. See if this is still what you want to say tomorrow.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And even with things I want to do, with the I'm making a plan, I'm making steps. I really believe in action plans for business and even for my personal life and all that kind of thing. I'm going to do this, but okay, well, let's sit with it, see how you feel in the morning. With that, if it's still resonating, and is it even resonating? Because generally, if it resonates right away, I know it's true. But sometimes it's not sitting quite right. Oh, so what's the hurry? What's the hurry? That's the question I ask myself. What's the hurry? Let it sit and see
And
what
I
happens. So
think,
those are excellent points.
PJ, like you were saying, what your parents taught you, that you were loved unconditionally, so that you walked into the world a certain way because of that. I
Yes.
think that translate to, your paradigm for life. So I believe that that God is the all good and is everywhere present. So I am always thinking that what's happening is good or for my good. So
Yes.
that leads me to when something happens, I don't automatically think that it's terrible.
Right.
And so what I'm thinking has to do with what my general paradigm is about life.
Right.
And if you think life is good, and if you think that the world is here for you,
Right.
that the universe is conspiring to bring you what you want, then when something happens or something crops up, then you've got a positive thought about it. And you don't
Exactly.
automatically, or you just keep moving because you think, this is
Yeah,
what life is.
it's
I
life.
just handle it. I have everything I need within me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Everything I
you
need is
feel
here.
it and you just go along. It's not even a hurdle to jump. You just go, oh, okay,
Oh, okay.
handle this too. And you
Right.
move on. So there's not even this situation where you want to react, and then you've got negative thoughts, and then you got to recoup from them. You got to go
Exactly.
off, vent, do what you want, have a pity party with your friends, and do all that stuff. By that time, you could have walked through whatever little tiny fire this was, if you consider it a fire, and you could
Right.
be on to the next thing in life.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just on my path. Okay.
Yeah. It's not mine. It's not mine. And
So what?
sometimes my sister uses she uses a wonderful, I don't know if it's a quote, just something she says about herself. And she says, you're not gonna bring the hood out in me. You're not gonna do it. Because the hood rat can come out because she knows how to do that. I said, but no, I've chosen not to do that. So I'm not gonna allow it. And she just reminds herself of who she is now. These are old paradigms, and she's living in a new paradigm. And so when the old paradigm tries to show up, she no, no, not doing that. That's not what I choose to do. So go away. This is who I am now. And I love that. I love that.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't that after that oh, I guess it was about 5 years ago, that terrible when the person drove the car down in Paris while there was a big festival.
Big crowd, yeah.
Drove it into some crowds. A man who had lost his wife wrote an open letter to the terrorists and said, I will not hate you. You will not get that from me. You know,
Excellent.
You can, if hate is what you choose, that's fine, but you're not going to create it in me, no matter what you do.
Beautiful.
It was said very beautifully and very kindly, not in a y'all suck and I'm going to be the good guy, but just like we all have choices here, and I choose not to let this affect me to that degree. So if that's what you're trying to do, you failed.
Yeah, you failed.
Well, we give our power away to a person or a circumstance.
Yes, absolutely.
We give our peace away. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give away our serenity. That's something that's taught in 12-step program, is that there's a slogan that says, how important is it? And the question underneath that is this worth giving away your serenity for?
Correct.
You know, how important is this battle? What are the spoils if you win? And what will
what's a win? Yeah, what is a win?
What's a win? And what will you cost if you've given away your serenity to get to whatever that nebulous win is?
Yeah, exactly.
So really important question to ask. What am I trying to accomplish here? And is it worth it?
Right.
Is it worth it?
And back to what we've talked about, several sessions ago, several shows ago, talking about what we value and what we believe, knowing that very clearly, what matters to us. Then when we have these situations, we come back to ourselves. That's not how I'm claiming my life. That is not a life I wish to live. I am loving. I believe that we all are individual expressions of God. This behavior that's showing up right now is not who you are. It's a behavior you're exhibiting. It's not who you are. It's not who I choose to believe that. So, and so we have choices in how we're going to behave, how we're going to act. I'm not going to let anyone outside of me tell me or do something that pulls me outside of who I say I am. I'm not going to do that, because I am who I am, and I choose to be who I choose to be, not who you think I should be, who I choose to be. And that's what we get to do. I think that's so much power in our lives to know that.
It is so much power. And you can help someone step into their power by saying to them what your dad said to you. That's why I make a point in every counseling appointment to start with a prayer. And in the prayer, I don't know what I'll say because it's whatever comes up. But always in the prayer, there is and we know that everything that is needed for whoever the person is already within her, is already within him. And so today we simply relax and focus on the answers that are already within and allow the Spirit to work through us as we come to, realize them or whatever. Yeah. That's part of it. And you can see people go,
oh, exactly.
When you say that, oh, I already have it. Because when you tell them that, they suddenly go, well, of course I do. Well, duh. Why wouldn't I?
Right. And that's what I'm here to remind you. I'm just here to remind you. That's all we're doing. That's what we're doing every Sunday morning. It's just reminding people.
Exactly.
That's all we do.
If I remember, a big deal. I can remind you, and then maybe you'll remind somebody else, and they'll remind somebody else of who we are.
Yes. Yes.
And we can be that, which we talked about last week. I am that.
I am that.
I am that, and I think. And my thinking won't change who I am at depth, but it certainly will change how I interact with the world.
Correct.
And that is for the good and pleasant and, toward love, or for the not so good, not so pleasant, and away from love, toward pain. We have that choice at all moments. Yeah. But if we forget we have the choice, then we're not in choice anymore. We're just in reaction.
And to me, that's what the our center is any center that you belong to, whatever you belong to. That's what the group is to me, to keep reminding each other.
Yep.
We come together to remember. But it's pretty easy to let that, to just be in the world, to be wherever you are, and forget for a second, just for a second, who you are and the power that you have already, the power you have. And so just to constantly be around a group of people who know the truth and remind you of the truth and expect the truth to come to be you. This is the power of having a group, having a center to go to people of like minds, and not people who think the same as you, but know the truth that you know the truth that you know.
In Buddhism, they talk about the three jewels, which are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And the Buddha is the teacher, the Dharma is the teaching, and the Sangha is the community of people who follow that teaching, who follow the Dharma. And it is as vital as the teaching itself or the teacher of the teaching. You have to have that group around you. And it's not that you can't be spiritual without a group. But man, in these tight little human bodies, we're trying to stuff divinity in this tight little form, put all kinds of stuff around it. Correct. It gets really hard to remember that unless we have people who are willing to lovingly remind us. We're reminded anyway, but sometimes we get reminded by getting, knocked around.
Exactly. But in a gentle way, reminded.
Who love us is very, very powerful. And Thich Nhat Hanh, Buddhist monk, says that he believes that the next Buddha is the Sangha. In other words, we've had enough community. The teaching's already there. The teacher is the people around you. They're your teacher. Your community is your teacher.
I couldn't agree more. I really believe that's where we are. I really do. I really do. The community. Yeah, exactly.
Community is important. I just had two gentlemen who've moved back to be closer to family, and they've been communicating since they've left, and talk about how it's affected them already being away from their established community.
Absolutely.
And, and it has been difficult. They love what they're doing. They love why they moved to be closer to family, and they're going to need to establish community there. And they're looking for ways to still be involved with us.
Absolutely.
Whether it's just to watch the talks or stay in touch with people that they know in the community, to still have conversation. We can always be on Zoom, things like that. So
absolutely.
Community's important, and sometimes you don't realize that until you get separated from them and realize how rich the experience is, even if you're having some knocking up against people. Which happens in families, happens in any kind of family, spiritual, biological, whatever.
And which is also the teacher. How much teaching are we going to get if we never rub up against anybody and have to work out, oh, that didn't work so well.
Hang on.
They do this better. That's part of the teaching itself.
Right. Exactly. So I know that I was raised with a very spiritual parent. My father, not so much. I mean, he just whatever my mom wanted, and so she was just highly spiritual. She talked to God no matter where we were, in the world. She just had a relationship with Jesus, and she had a relationship with God. And so no matter what denomination I was in, there was a spiritual side of it for me always. And so no matter where I went, if I couldn't find a center or something to go to, I just created one, a group like the three of us. I create a group of like minds so that we can read books, to stay in that knowing, just to remind yourself all the time on a regular basis of who you are and what's truly possible. Because, the world will tell you differently. They'll tell you, logic is the way to go, and that they're, whatever, all the stories that they have to tell you. But the truth you already know. And so just to be around the people who know the truth with you is a huge thing. It's huge. I don't know that I don't know any place I've ever been in the world that I have not found one or created one, a community.
Yeah.
Yeah, have to. It's like breath, like life. Well, it is life. Not life, it is life.
It's a beautiful song by Erin McGaughan, who is a wonderful singer-songwriter, but she's also a minister in
Yeah.
Washington State. It's called Someone is Praying for You. And
Mm,
the chorus says, someone is praying for you. Someone is knowing the truth for you.
mm,
Be comforted in love.
exactly.
And
Oh, I
there's
love it.
such beauty in that. Someone is praying for you. What does that mean? It means someone is knowing the truth for you when you might have forgotten it for a moment.
Exactly. You might, for a moment,
Knowing it for you.
for a moment. Correct. Correct. And that
Powerful,
is peace.
powerful words to be able to say to someone, what I know for you in this moment is this.
Is this? Here's
You,
the truth that I know.
yeah, this is, you have it all inside you. What I know for you is that everything you need to work out a solution is already there.
It's already available to you. Yeah. And that's the truth. And you can say it knowing it's the truth.
Yeah.
But you know it's the truth. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
It might be time for another commercial break.
Just about.
Let's
Thanks.
do it.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
All right.
And we're back.
And so I think, what other side can we approach that third principle from? It's thoughts held in mind, produce after their kind. That we said last week that the week before, that there is only divinity, that we are that divinity, and that with our thoughts, we either align with that divinity or we get in an argument with it and make a mess.
Yes.
Is that a fair way of saying that?
I would definitely say that's a fair and accurate way of saying it. Absolutely.
We still have choice.
We do.
But our choices are reflected in our thoughts, and the thoughts that we hold on to, not the thoughts that pass through.
Thank you.
Thoughts that we tie to our oxen, and like a cart.
Yeah.
Those thoughts will come to fruition. So it behooves us to be careful what those thoughts are. So I'm interested to hear from you, ladies. Can you think of some times in your life, or a time in your life, recent or in the past, where you held tight to a thought, where you just kept knowing it as the truth, regardless of what showed up around you, and turned out that you were absolutely right and had been right all along and were in the right place?
Yeah.
Got a story like that?
So I can certainly share one that's just off the top. It stays with me all the time because it was just such a powerful thing. And I've shared it with you, but I'm going to condense it a little bit. So I had a friend of mine. We were friends, and we played music together, band together. And so I was the lead singer as well as the marketer. So I would get us gigs. And I would be talking to the client about what exactly they wanted. And then I'd let the band know, this is what they're wanting, this is what they're asking for. And so we had this gig, and the client, it was like a 5-star resort, and the client wanted us to dress nicely. And we had one band member who just wanted to dress like he was in a garage band, with holes in his jeans and, the man beater t-shirt and a hat backwards and all this. And I said, no, we can't show up like that. This is what the client's asking for. He wants to dress like, in black. Or we look like waiters. It doesn't matter. We're not, it's not a personal thing. This is what he's asking for. This is what they're paying for. So I really need you to do that. Okay. And so then, of course, the next time he showed up, same way. And I said, okay, I thought we talked about this. This is what the client's asking for. We really need to show up this way. Okay. The next time he showed up exactly the same way with this beater stuff. And I said, all right, well, we're going to cancel the gig. We're canceling the gig because I can't offer the client what he wants. And so we're canceling the gig. Well, all heck broke loose. He was so angry with me. And it was he was so much venom going on, and friends and that knew us were calling me and going, "What is going on with the two of you?" No, there's no two of us. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand why he's acting this way. He's never behaved this way before, but he was just talking about me and telling everybody how he was going to actually hire some thugs to run a Mack truck through the middle of my living room. It was crazy. And so I said, okay, I don't know what's going on. And so Spirit does. And so I asked Spirit, I said, what's happening? This is the prayer I asked. This is the question. I said, how do I get my friend back? How do I get my friend back? And Spirit, clear as a bell, as I'm talking to you right now, Spirit said, apologize. And I said, absolutely not. Mm-mm. No, no, I'm sorry. No, I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I apologize? And Spirit said, that's not the question you asked. You didn't ask who was right or wrong. You asked how to get your friend back. And if that's what you want, then you have to apologize. And I knew that was true. I knew it was true. And so I asked Spirit, I said, well, then give me the words, because I don't know what to say. I don't know how to apologize. So tell me, what are the words? And Spirit said, well, you did take away his income. You can apologize for that. And I said, no, that's true enough. So, okay. All right. And it was like when I called him and I said, I apologize. I know that I took money out of your pocket for them you might have had planned on spending, and I apologize for that. It was as if I had taken a torch to ice and it had just melted. Everything, it's like nothing. It was so amazing. So, I asked for it. I knew the truth of it. I was resistant. That was the human side, but I knew the truth of it. The moment I heard it, I knew it was right. I didn't want to do it, but I knew if I wanted what I asked for, it was necessary. And it was a beautiful thing. I talk about it all the time because I was so resistant, even though it's what I asked for, and the Spirit gave me the exact answer, and I refused to do it. No, I'm sorry. Hell no.
You only refused.
Give me something else.
Okay.
Can I talk to the devil, please? Is the devil there?
Yeah.
Okay. No.
God's not helping right now. Can I talk?
Okay, you're not. That's not helping. It's
not helping.
You have a story, Kim?
What I just thought of is that, my brother and I were estranged. Yeah. And I had all kinds of stories and thoughts about him, his life, why he did or did not do things related to the family, like when my mother downsized and I asked for his help. He didn't he didn't stay long at my father's funeral or my sister's. He just kind of breezed in and breezed out, things like that. So I had all of these thoughts and had my mind pretty made up about all of it. And then, as I grew spiritually and just kind of left that alone. And at some point, I got off my high horse again and decided to just ask him, how do you feel about things and what is going on with you? And we ended up having this 4-hour conversation. We actually had about 4 or 5 of them after that. And he admitted that he had stories and judgments about me as well. And neither of us were right in our judgments. And we did share exactly what was going on and what was there and what was behind what happened or did not happen. And it absolutely changed our relationship. Yeah. And now we have an active, wonderful, supportive life. I always call them life-affirming relationships. Because we do add to each other's lives. And we now have this entity that is the two of us. That's very nice. But, we were both dug in to our thoughts about the other and the situation that happened. And all of it was speculation. We both spiraled down to something, and it didn't help me. It didn't help him. It didn't help the family as a unit, because we're basically, actually, my brother and I are the only two left in my immediate family.
Wow.
So there was no family as long as we were both dug into these illusions about the other.
Yeah.
I think that's part, I think that can go a long way to healing a lot of situations and a lot of families, a lot of friendships, if we just simply ask.
Yeah.
What is going on? Because I really want to know. But we first have to come away from our own judgments. We have to get out of our own stuff.
Yeah.
We got to be willing to step out of the shit and say, okay, no pony in there, because that's just shit.
That's just shit. This is a pile of shit.
This shit by myself.
I ran that pony off a long time ago. Yeah.
And I just love what you said about the willingness. You were ready. You were willing. You wanted and at the end, you admitted the truth to yourself. I want a relationship with my brother. I want this.
That's the thing that Melinda was talking about. I finally was able to admit I might have had something to do with running this in the ditch.
Yeah. What was my role in this? Yeah. What was my role in this?
That quote from supposedly from the Buddha that says, when we dwell on these things, they don't do us well. When we dwell on, he did this to me, he did this to me, then what we want doesn't come out of it. But when we stop dwelling on that and, imagine this, dwell on what did I do? How may I have been interpreted? What have I been doing? Then it gets a chance to turn around. And I was thinking,
or even thinking about what is that you really want. What do you really want here?
That you want?
What do you want?
Relationship.
Right.
What I wanted was the relationship. He has said the same thing. We both just wanted love, but we so went around Johnson's barn and got lost.
Yeah.
I do like I think this is also the Buddha who says, you can have pain, but you don't have to suffer.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Yeah. So when I left my job as a music director that I had had for 25 years around, and wasn't really sure what was next. I took another job as a music director, but I felt like that wasn't, that was a stopgap. And this idea came to me that I wanted to do ministry. And part of the reason it came to me is because two places where I was doing music and some ministry things, various people at those places said, I think you should come and be our minister. I think you'd be wonderful. I think da-da-da. And I started thinking, well, I've really been in ministry all these years, and it's the most rewarding part of my job. I'll always love music, but music was what led me into ministering to these 100 people that were in my music department. And my relationships with those people were more important than the music that brought us together, So I understood that this was really probably my path. As I got really clear that it was my path and it was what I was going to do, started applying to seminary, started seeing, actually taking the steps and claiming for myself, yes, this is my next step in life. This is who I am. This is who I'm going to get the credentials to be in my professional life. And then these two places that had said, oh, we want you, we want you, we want you, got really silent and didn't seem to want me anymore. And then I graduated from seminary and I had no job. I got one right away as an associate minister, into something that I thought could grow into, a whole ministership. At some point, she said when she retired that she was definitely going to recommend me to take over. And she actually left early for another job. And I don't know. I have no idea. I can only speculate that the anger that they had at her for leaving got spilled onto me because they didn't even talk to me. It was like I didn't exist after she left. So I was like, well, geez, God.
What's this about now?
I went to school. I got ordained. I keep hearing from you that I'm supposed to be a congregational minister. And yet, I don't know if you've noticed this, but no congregation.
I don't know if you've seen that or not.
I don't know if you noticed. And But
He was on vacation.
my prayer was, I am a minister and there is a place for me. Either I am being prepared for it or it is being prepared for me.
Right.
We will meet when the time is right. Not saying I never had doubts. I'm not saying I never got into a place where I went, was this ever going to happen? But generally, and every day, my prayer was, I would check in. Okay, Spirit, am I still supposed to be a minister? Haven't heard anything besides that. Besides, yes, you are.
Yes.
So you're going to have to show me where. I get silence. And except for this wisdom that either I'm not ready for it or it's not ready for me. And so keep doing what you're doing until, God says, like Duke Ellington, don't do nothing till you hear from me.
Okay. You've heard from me. You're a minister. Now sit tight while we get it together.
So I got the word from the Duke, to just keep, steadily do what I was already doing, which was growing as a minister, which was subbing for other ministers and traveling around the country and sharing my music and sharing my ministry and continuing to do my work, even without my own congregation in which to do it. And, sure, in a way, the sheer number of synchronicities and coincidences that happened when I found the community that was to be my community was almost laughable. You can make a movie out of it. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
But it was true. It was my place. It had been my place all along. But when I graduated from seminary, it was not ready for me.
It wasn't there. Yeah.
And as ready as I thought I was, I might have been a little bit less than completely ripe at the time. I might could have used a little bit of seasoning on the way. And I did. I had a year and a half of some really, really good seasoning. And then when it finally happened, it was clear to all of us that it was exactly right. The right timing, the right people, the right community, the right everything.
Everything.
Just by holding that thought.
Exactly.
And holding it lightly. Okay, God, if there's something else I'm supposed to do, you're going to have to tell me. There's something
I like that, holding it lightly.
Yeah.
That's just hold it. Just know that this Spirit has led you here, and things are working. Things are working its way out. It's working its way. So just keep doing it. Just all right.
As we wrap this up, we only have a couple minutes. I think that's my thing, is make sure you hold it lightly, because if you're holding on too tight, it might be ego holding that thought.
Yeah.
And all bets are off when it's your ego stubbornly holding on to a thought rather than a God-centered guidance. And with that, I turn it over to you.
Well, just you know that you can just ask Spirit, as we do. We know we can just ask Spirit. Okay, is this me? Or is it ego? Is this me? Is this you? Is this you? Who is this? And Spirit will say, "Child, it's me. Just hang on. Whatever it is." And so I just love that. You don't have to guess or worry about it. Just ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
My final thought is that thoughts have power, and
They
just
do.
remember that what we think has power in our lives and in the global consciousness as well. So with that, we will sign off. Please check us out at realtalksisters.com. If you need to email us, realtalksisters@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And we're happy you were here.
Yeah.
Thank
you so much.
The Barnes family. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all the comments.
For holding that thought lightly. Blessings. All of you. Bye, you Barnes people. I love you. Linda, love you.
Good night, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.